Hi everyone, and welcome back to Stamp with Anna. And today I'm going to show you another card that we made at card class this past weekend, which was a box in a card. On Monday we made this birthday card, and today we're going to use the Coffee Cafe bundle and make this thank you card, which I think is adorable. So let's get started, and I'll show you exactly how to make this great little card. The first thing we need to do is make the hole in our cardstock. This is a piece of early espresso, and it is 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line with the long folded edge along the top. I'm going to line this up at 1, and with my cutting blade I'm going to come down 2 inches. Okay, then I'm going to move this over so that my slice is at 2, and now my card edge is at 3, but my slice is at 2. I'm going to come down again, and I'm going to cut all the way down to the 2 inch. Now you do have to bear down a little more firmly because you are cutting through two pieces of paper. Now I'm going to turn my card horizontally, and I'm going to bring the folded edge up to the 2. And the reason we're at the 2 is because these came down 2. So now I'm going to take my blade and I'm going to line it up with that first cut, and I'm going to just cut out the box. Okay, so I'm going to bring the blade from this cut down to this cut, and when I lift my blade, I have this cut right here, and this should pop right out. If it doesn't pop right out, just take your snips and clean that up just a bit. All right, and there we have our card. Now on this card here, I have my short panel on the right, my thin panel on the right, and my thicker panel on the left. This time I'm going to turn it around, just because I want to shake things up a little. And I'm going to put my thin panel on the left and my thick panel on the right. So the way I'm going to make my panels is I have the Coffee Cafe bundle, the paper. What is it called actually? It's called Coffee Break, excuse me. And I have 2 pieces of the designer series paper. This is cut 2 1/4 by 4, and this is cut 3/4 by 4, and they are going to go right here. I'm going to attach the smaller one, but I'm not going to attach the larger one just yet. So I'm going to line that up right there. The larger one, before I attach it, I do want to put a little ribbon on it. So I have somewhere here on my desk, I'm using the Wild Wasabi seam binding. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a piece a little wider than the width of this piece, and then another shorter piece, and I'm going to make what I like to call a faux bow. So I'm going to take my long piece and put it straight up. I'm going to put my short piece across it, making a T, and then I'm just going to tie this over. I'm going to make a loop. If my fingers would work, I would make a loop. Tighten that up. Now that doesn't look like a knot, right? But when I flip this over, I have a perfect knot. So I'm going to attach that right here. Take a little bit of snail and attach the ends to it. And now I'm going to trim the tails on this. And now I'm going to attach it to my card front. A little bit of snail. And that's going to go right here. Okay, we're getting there. Now we need to make our little box. And to do that, this one here I used Old Olive, but again I'm shaking it up a little bit, and I'm going to use some garden green because I want to pick up on that green teapot right there. Tea kettle, coffee kettle. So this is a piece of garden green that is cut 6 by 6, and with my score blade I'm going to score 2 inches, turn my paper 90 degrees, score another 2 inches, turn my paper 90 degrees, score it 2 inches, turn my paper at 90 degrees again, and score at 2 inches. So now I have what looks like a tic-tac-toe box. I'm going to fold over my creases, and with my paper snips I'm going to cut on that line right up to the first crease. And then when I fold this over, I want to have nice, neat insides. So what I'm going to do is wedge each side of these outside panels. Now that'll ensure when we fold our box that we have nothing sticking out up here. Now, because each of these panels is 2 inches, when I fold this in, and I've snipped a little bit away because that's where my score line was, I may find that I have some sticking out here. And so I want to make sure that it doesn't buckle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim just a little bit off each one of these tabs. Okay, so now there's what the bottom tab looks like. I'm going to turn my paper over and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to cut up to that line. I'm going to wedge these two. And then I'm going to snip. And here is my box. Now, when I made this box here, I put my box together and then I put my patterned paper on it. And although I found it easy enough to do that, because they were small little pieces, some of the ladies at class thought it might have been easier if we had put the papers on before we put the box together. And certainly today I'll do that. Now, because I have a pattern on this, I have to make sure that I'm going in the right direction. So I'm going to just roughly close my box, and I'm going to see that this piece needs to go up with the design going that way. So I'm going to attach this right here. Now obviously if that one is going that way, I'm going to put this one going in the same orientation. I'm not going to turn it. Okay. So now this one goes right here. And now I'm going to do the same thing, a dry fit. And I see that this one needs to go horizontally. So I'm going to do that right there. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. Now I'm going to take my snail and I'm going to put snail on each of these outside tabs. A strip at the edge and a strip at the fold. And I found that snail is sturdy enough, is strong enough to hold the box together. So now I'm going to put the box together. I'm going to fold this in, have these meet so I have a 90-degree angle, and I'm going to press. I'm going to do the same on this side, and I'm going to press. I'm going to do the same on this side, and press. And the same on this side. And press. And there, if you look inside the box, we have these nice tapered edges. Nice and neat, nothing is sticking out on the top. Now, like I said, we laid this flat and we attached these decorative pieces. But because it was small enough, it's a small enough surface, I found it when I made it, my prototype, that I put my box together and then added this to it, and I didn't have a problem with that. But whatever works for you, so that's why I'm showing you a different way than how I did it on Monday. So now I have another piece of garden green, and this is cut 3 1/8 by 3 1/8. And I'm going to score this at 1/2 inch all the way around. 1/2 inch, turn it 90 degrees, 1/2 inch, turn it 90 degrees, 1/2 inch, turn it 90 degrees, and 1/2 inch for the last one. And we're going to do the exact same thing that we did for this one. We're going to snip up the lines and taper. Snip on the line and taper. Now, because these tabs are folding in, I should have folded those. Because these tabs are folding into a much larger piece, I don't have to trim that top because I know I won't have a problem with it. So snip and taper. And snip and taper. Clean that up just a tad there. Now, as I mentioned on Monday, I originally thought that I could put a glue dot on each of these tabs and that would hold this. But I found it didn't have a nice look to it. It was, you could see that it only a dot was holding it together. So I decided to use snail. You could use fast fuse if you thought snail wasn't enough, as it wasn't sturdy enough. You could use tear tape. I used snail and it worked fine. And the only thing I will caution you about is these tabs are small, so you don't want to do anything that's too rough because your tab will come right off. And then you won't be able to put your box together unless you piece it up. Okay, so now I have snail on all of my tabs, and I'm going to fold this in 90 degrees and press. Fold this in 90 degrees and press. Fold it in, make 90 degrees and press. Fold this in, make 90 degrees and press. Now I also have a piece of decorative paper for the top, and I'm going to attach that. Center that up. Like I said, this is small enough that I didn't feel like I had to do it while it was flat, and it was easy enough. And this is the cover to our adorable little box. And because this box is 2 inches in depth, and this was 3 1/8, so 3 1/8. So after you scored the half around, this here is 2 1/8. So you have an extra 1/16 of an inch on either side. So that makes the cover fit. If you had cut that out so that this square was 2, which is the same size as the box, the cover wouldn't fit. So that's why you need just that extra bit. So this is going to go right here. Now I just need to decorate it, and I'm making it a thank you card. So I'm using, as part of that bundle again, is the Coffee Cafe stamp, and I'm using this Thanks a Latte. And I'm also using the coordinating coffee cups framelits, as well as the layering ovals framelits. This tiny one that is kind of a different shaped oval cuts out the Thanks a Latte. And then with scrap piece of white garden green and early espresso, I'm going to cut out my other ovals. Small oval on garden green, a larger oval on early espresso, and the scalloped oval on whisper white. But before I do that, I have to stamp my Thanks a Latte. And because it's a photopolymer stamp, I'm bringing in my Pierce mat. And with a little bit of early espresso, I'm going to ink up my stamp and stamp this right in the middle. Okay, I'm back with all my die cuts, so now I just have to put this together. I do have a lot of layers here. I'm going to put this one in the middle of my green. Move that over just a little bit. And this one is going to go on my early espresso. And this one is going to go on my Whisper White. And then the whole package is going to go on my card. And here's my card right here. Oops, I'm going to try so that it's straight. Now, I do want to show you one thing. When you put your box in your card, you do want your A-line on the side to be straight. You don't want it to buckle. And if it does buckle, that means you have something, you have a little extra paper here. So, I'm going to take my box, and I do want the box to sit on top of this ledge here. And when I put my cover on it, I'll check it for fit. Now I can see that that buckles on that side. This side is okay, and this side has that little buckle. So that tells me I have a little too much paper right here. So with my snips, I'm going to come in and shave off just a hair. If you shave off too much, then your box will not sit securely. Okay, so I'm going to try that now. And there we go. Nice A-line on that side, nice A-line on that side. And it sits beautifully. All right, so there we have it. A second box in a card using the Coffee Cafe bundle. And as you can see, on each card, I picked up a different color green. On this one here, I used the garden green to pick up on that coffee pot. And on this one here, I used the garden green, the old olive, to pick up on these coffee cups and these other little splashes of olive green. Old olive, excuse me. So there we go, second card. I hope you'll come back on Friday where I have another design. It's one that we didn't make a card class, but I want to share it with you, and it's perfect for an engagement or a wedding or some kind of fun celebration like that. I hope to see you back here on Friday. Thanks so much.